Hi, this is Bill Cameron at Skagit Power Sports, and I am here to introduce a video we made, a fun video we thought would be neat to make, testing the new KTM RC390 and the R3 Yamaha and the Ninja 300 Kawasaki, and we happen to have a very clean CBR 250 in used bike areas, so we thought we'd include it too. But we went out and did some tests, who's the fastest, who's top speed, and so forth. And we hope you enjoy the video. Thank you. This is the 2015 KTM RC390, one of the bikes we tested in our little test here. And some of the cool specifications on this bike are its largest motor and lightest weight, and it actually has the highest top speed. We'll get into that later. But apart from the very attractive appearance, it's got some interesting features. It's 79 cc's bigger than the Kawasaki and 54 cc's bigger than the Yamaha, and it's much lighter. It's 245 pounds compared to 368 for the Yamaha and 383 for the Kawasaki. However, it does have some drawbacks. The lightweight, you only get 2.64 gallons of gas, and that might be important to commuters. It's another thing is it's also got the highest seat height, what we measured at 32 inches. It's an inch and a half or an inch higher than the other two, which might be important for somebody with a shorter inseam. One thing that we really liked about it was a clever passenger seat. While this cowling on the back looks really fast and sporty, it's really a squishy pad, and it's actually comfortable to sit on. I've never seen that before, and I really like it. Okay, we'll go talk about the other bikes now. Now we're going to get into the Yamaha R3, another bike that just came out. We were interested to see how it stacked up against the Ninja 300 and the KTM 390 and the Honda CBR. This bike was really held its own. It's got just a buttery transmission and clutch, very easy to ride. One of the things that probably is the strongest point for this, besides being attractive, is it's got the lowest seat height, and it has the narrowest seat. I think people with a lower or the smaller inseam are going to find out that this particular bike might be the easiest to reach the ground on. It's also be an excellent commuter bike for actual use, because instead of the small tank on the RC390, it actually has 3.7 gallons. Which at the mileage these things get is quite a long drive. One of the styling features we like is it's got the same kind of front end of its bigger brothers, the R6 and the brand new R1. So while it's little, it doesn't have to look like a little bike. So it's got a low seat height, and gives up a little bit of engine size. It's 25 cc's bigger than the Kawasaki, but 54 cc's smaller than the KTM. It's a little heavier, 15 pounds more than the RC390, but it's quite a bit lighter than the Kawasaki 300. So we'll have the performance information later in the video. Thanks. All right, the third bike in our video is a Ninja 300. Upgraded from a 250 a couple years ago. They gave it a different motor with a longer stroke, and which brought the maximum power down to a lower RPM, which makes it more usable for the street. The bike has been proven. There's a #1 selling sport bike in the world, I believe, and there's literally thousands of these everywhere. Some of the things that in its favor, besides just being so bulletproof, is it's got the lowest seat height of all three of those bikes. It's a little heavier. It's 38 pounds more than the RC390 and 15 pounds more than the Yamaha. But in its favor, instead of having 2.6 gallons or 3.7, it's got 4.5 gallons. So if you're actually riding this motorcycle like really on the street and you want to commute on it and things, 4.5 gallons is a nice thing to have. It's an attractive bike, and a lot of us have been racing these 250s for the last few years, and they're just bulletproof, great things. It's a little bit smaller motor than the other two. It came out at 296 cc's, and Yamaha decided to make it 25 cc's bigger, and KTM decided to go one cylinder and make it 54 cc's bigger. So, you know, it's quite a bit smaller motor, and then it's a little heavier too. But it has the lowest seat height and the biggest gas tank, which should come in handy for a lot of people in a practical aspect. Okay, well, we learned a lot about the three bikes, and there's no question the KTM RC390 is both the fastest top speed and the quickest in a standing start. There's really no surprise there, since it's a much bigger engine and quite a bit lighter than the other bikes. The thing we learned a lot about is the bikes have different strengths and weaknesses. For instance, the Kawasaki is a little bit heavier, but it's got the biggest gas tank and a really comfortable seat and probably the most user-friendly mid-range motor. The next one would be the Yamaha R3. It's got a buttery smooth clutch and transmission, and it's got the most power for, you know, a 300 level bike. It's 2 cylinders along with the Kawasaki, which makes it a better rever and probably a better bike to ride like on the freeway and things. The Honda was similar gas capacity and weight, and it was 1 cylinder, and it didn't have nearly as much power as the other bikes. So we didn't actually run it in the drag races or the top speed run. Then that puts it in another category is the RC390. It's quite a bit more expensive, $1,000 to $1,500 or $500 to $1,000 more than the other three, and but it's got the most power because it's got 75 cc bigger engine, and it's quite a bit lighter. It's probably 15 to 25 pounds lighter than the other bikes. Another thing that keeps it light is it's only got a 2.5 gallon tank versus a 3.5 to 4.5 gallon on the other bikes. The RC390 is going to make a really fun sport bike for kids. However, with the short range and the really high seat height. I had a few of the testers that couldn't reach the ground on the 390 because the seat's pretty high. So if you're looking at these bikes, consider what you're going to use it for. The R3 would be the best all-around street bike. The Kawasaki is a little bit behind it because it's a little heavier and a little less power. And then the RC390 is really a fun little hot rod with the shorter range and less comfort. But they're both great bikes, and they're all great bikes. And I hope you liked the video. Thanks.